we can't let go of our opinions. Thomas Sketsky, and in your little brochure we handed there, you got 4 truths. Number 1 is this. The only reason we have grades, they're supposed to reflect learning. That's it. That's it. We've turned it into a circus. It's a big mess. So here's what I teach, which is an opportunity for a school to do this, although I'm not a grading expert at all. I gave my teachers time, and they came around. I say you keep sprinkling this stuff out there, and you teach the truth. Do you know how a bank teller is trained to identify false bills? They don't teach them about the false bills. They soak them in the truth. This is what a real bill looks like. Anything else is a lie. That's the way you change a staff. You soak them in the truth, and this is one of them. Tell your teachers, when you put any number anywhere on a grade next to a student's name, how closely are you getting to that right there? That'll help them move that direction. I put an 80 down. What does that mean? We need to ask those questions. Do we know? How closely does it reflect learning? I say that learning is like the sun. It generates, it's the main thing. It generates light. It generates heat. We need it. We look at it. It's the main thing. You know what the moon is? It's a rock. And it reflects the sun. The only thing the moon does, it reflects the sun. So we've made the moon, we've tried to make the moon the main thing. In kindergarten we say, what have you learned today? And the kids say, what? I learned my ABCs, A, B, C, D, E, F. What do we say? Starting in 4th grade, which is when apathy starts to really settle in, what do we say to students, all the adults, grandma and grandpa, what do they say to the students once they get to 4th grade? What did you learn today? Or how are your grades? Anybody have a 4th grader? Listen at Christmas time. Just listen to grandpa and grandma, all the innocent uncles and aunts, all the adults in their life. We soak the kids in a skewed, chase the shadow now. In kindergarten, it's, what did you learn? And then we all start, what are your grades? Do your work. Do your work. Bring up your grades. Do your work. Bring up your grades. That's not the main thing. Let's stop saying. Take that off of your plate. Save energy. Put it into the truth. Here is a couple of shadows we got the lowest grade. 4th grade teachers start this. I come into first period, and I'm a dysfunctional student, and I come to first period math, and you tell me your grading system. Did you hear that? Yeah. I dropped the lowest grade. I come to second period English, you don't. I'm already confused. Life is chaos out there, and I come in 3rd period, you go, well, I dropped the 2 lowest grade, and I give the homework passes. Every assignment is important, but here's a couple of homework passes. Every assignment is important, but I dropped the lowest grade. Is that a shadow or the truth? Clear it up. Where did dropping the lowest grade come from? Who approved that? Was it in 2nd Leviticus? Some people laugh when I say that. You know, there is no 2nd Leviticus, okay? And what about this? Canned food drives. Anybody have those in their schools? This is what brought this to a head. This type of stuff brought it to a head in your school. You have a canned food drive? Teachers end up doing what for canned food? Giving points. Hey, Channel 2 will put Lebanon versus Mount Juliet. They play football on Friday. Mount Juliet's going to hammer Lebanon. So the Lebanon people, who also might be on the list because their grad rate is too low, the teachers get together and go, you know what? Our grad rate's terrible. We're going to get hammered Friday night. But Channel 2 is going to put us on TV if we win the canned food drive. So we're going to win that. And teachers start giving points for beans and corn. Now, I think, you know, we have showboat beans. You ever seen a showboat? They're cheap. They don't taste good, and they cost, 50 cents a can. The bush beans taste delicious, if you like porky beans. They cost $2 a can. I believe we should give more points for the band camp and the bush beans than we do the showboat beans. How about you? We need to get this cleared up. Truthful sets are clear. Let's clear this up. You see what a chaos it is? It's chaos. What are the kids here? We're taking kids who are coming from dysfunctional, chaotic homes, and they come into a dysfunctional school. Even though you're a great teacher, and you're a great teacher, and you're a great teacher, they come into a dysfunctional school where nobody can even agree on what a grade is. Second truth, inaccurate feedback hurts everybody. Minus 10, minus 10, minus 10, minus 20. I'm not taking it now. That has nothing to do with learning at all. We're trying to teach responsibility by grading responsibility. That didn't work. Toss it. Save your energy. Stop chasing that shadow. What if we inflate a grade? Because the parents want A's, don't they? If you send home all A's, won't everybody be happy? My daughter was salutatorian at Wilson Central High School. Her ACT was very mediocre. What does that mean went on in the culture of that good school? It's a good school. What went on in that school? She was not held accountable for every standard, was she? She was not held accountable for being advanced in every standard. She was held accountable for playing the game of school, and she figured it out. She came out with a 3.99, and yet when she went to Sanford University on a golf scholarship, she was behind the other kids. Top student out of a big high school. Doug Reed says, we got to stop doing this, and yet in Tennessee, if you graduate in Tennessee with a 3.0, your child gets $4,000 a year in scholarship money. Any other state do that? What state?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. We probably got that idea from you. The lottery? Do you have the lottery? Okay, yeah. If you have a 2.99, you know what you get in Tennessee? Zero. Zero. So my son, who is a great kid, but he doesn't love school, and he's not going to get a golf scholarship, when he came through, Deb and I are both educators, so we're really wanting Zach to get the $4,000, right? Deb's a high school grad coach at Wilson Central, and she started in on him after he left my school. He was at my school for 9 years. I was a K-8 school. And he would get to school many days, and I'd say, Z, you got any homework? He'd say, no, of course. And the next day, we would get to school, and all of his buddies would come in with a science project, except the principal's son. That happened a lot. So when he went to the high school, I'm going, oh, my goodness. Deb starts in on him and says, you got to have 3.0. Son, you got to have 3.0 that freshman year. We've got to get that GPA up. 3.5 your freshman year, so we can work our way down and maybe hit the 3.0 and get the $4,000. So Zach comes home every night, no books. 6 weeks into his freshman year, I'm wondering, how's he doing? He doesn't know. He doesn't have a clue. And he and I are walking through Kmart in Lebanon, and we pass by this mounting paper towels, one of those big pallets, okay? And he says, Dad, come here, come here. I go walking back, what is going on here? I'm really curious. Come here, Dad. He's standing there like this. He said, I just remembered something from school. Well, that in itself could have caused a coronary. Okay? I'm serious. Dad, I remember something from school. My science teacher said that if we bring in 6 rolls of paper towels, we get 30 bonus points. I said, manager, you get that co-motor over here. I'm going to back this truck up, okay? I'll take all the Bounty, all the Bronny, all the cheap brand. I'm thinking for just a second, I might have the valedictorian on my hands. But I'm going to get that $4,000 by donating $300 in paper towels. This is why they've cut it out. But we need our teachers to realize that error in their ways. You see the difference, right? And then we have false threats that and your first name is Kevin? Trevor. So Trevor is in eighth grade, okay? And Trevor hasn't done any work since 4th grade or 5th grade, but he's in 8th grade. We don't know how he got there, but you all are his classmates. And Trevor shows up in my class, first period, first day of school, and he doesn't have his work. Second day of school, he doesn't have his work. Third day of school, he doesn't have his work. Right around day 3 or 4, I start getting irritated. I start getting really irritated. Now, this is the stress we're going to remove from everybody. You hear that? When you're thinking add, no, we're taking this away. At some point, I would say to Trevor, if you don't start doing your work, then you're going to be back in 8th grade. You're never going to be successful. If then. Now, he comes to 2nd period, social studies, same thing. He comes to science, same thing. He comes to English, same thing. Now, let's multiply times 6 classes, 180 days, how many days would you all have to listen to this if-then threat that we gave to Trevor, and several others in the room, if you don't start doing any work? You might hear that 300 or 400 times. We don't say that in an ICU school. It's gone. How much good does that do? Has that changed, kids? No. Did that fix our apathy problem? No. We didn't know anything else to say. It feels right. It seems right. It doesn't work. Now, here's what actually happened at the end of the year. When I taught at Mount Juliet Junior High, and as principal until we did ICU, we would get to the end of the school year, and as principal now, I call you all in, and I say, tell me your 8th graders that failed. You're a first-year teacher. You all have been with me a while. You blurt out, Trevor, right? It's a no-brainer for you, but they don't say anything. They just sit there and go, look down. I look at you all. We're on the same page. And I go, hey, I'm going to step out here just a second, okay? And as soon as I step out in the hall, you, thinking kids are on their way, look to them and you jump in and say, hey, do you want Trevor back next year? And then they shout, do you want Trevor back next year? You got to pass it because we don't want him back next year. And as principal, I don't want him back next year. We can't have, you're all losing touch of kids so old, but you know who Jethro Bodine is. Oh, yeah. Okay. You know, he was 26 years old in the 5th grade. We can't have Jethro Bodine in the 6th grade, right? The kids know that. They know we play this game. So you go, oh my goodness, I don't want him back either. What do I do? And you say, give me that grade book just a second. I may teach you about dropping lowest grade. And you say, how many grades can I drop? And you all say, many as you need to. And you say, hey, let me have that grade book. I forgot to tell you about the Easy 100s. And you say, what's that? Easy 100s. You know, they did a notebook in science. You know, they colored in Mars. I think I found his notebook over here. And, you know, that's an Easy 100. And you say, how many Easy 100s can we give? And all of you say, as many as you want to. And then you say, hey, you know what? I think his mother brought in a whole bunch of beans and corn. And I've got them in my, do you need to see those? No. How much do I count for each can? You say, as much as you want. And I got some paper towels. I got some dry erase markers. So I come back in the room and I say, did you have an A for me? And you say, no. I thought he failed, but he had a 69.5. We mush all this together and we come up with nonsense. If then is eliminated in our new house. Never use if then ever. It wastes our energy. It's a stressor. It builds. And you know what the dysfunctional kids hear? They're coming from homes where if then dominates them. If mama doesn't get a job today, then we're going to have to move again. If daddy gets drunk today, then he's going to chase us with a knife. They're living with if-then, and when you use if-then at all, those kids do like this. It's gone. We're going to change our language. We're going to immerse them, soak them in 100%, just like my mom and dad raised me. In a solid home that was functional. Our schools are dysfunctional, full of great teachers, but they're dysfunctional. Our kids come into our home every day from dysfunction. Dysfunction plus dysfunction equals what? Don't play with it. Don't try it. But if you do it, you'll turn all of your kids. Oh, Danny, you're crazy. No. Remember, 100% of our students completed every assignment for 8 straight years, right off I-40. Every student completed every assignment. The last 2 truths. Learning is not a race. We continue to reward speed. He made a 95 on the test the first time, and she made a 95 the second time. We just can't give her the same grade. Well, okay, all right. If that's what you keep chasing shadows there. Keep chasing shadows. What's a grade supposed to be? A reflection of learning. You keep going back to that. But we got to reward speed. Who says? We don't reward speed in kindergarten, but we do in 7th grade. Why? You control the way you do things. The way you do things is totally, directly impacted by the way you think. Our thinking as a staff can change. And then we have dramatic change in our schools. And the last one is this: learn the standards. Soak the kids in standards. Honor the standards. This came from Ken O'Connor. We're either going to say it's about honoring the standards. Here's what you're supposed to learn. You haven't learned that yet. You're below proficient. We're going to move you forward. You're still going to restudy. We're going to give extra practice here. You're going to soak them in that every day. Or you're going to have the kids learn your game. How many of you were good at playing the game of school? I was. Yeah. So does your school make kids play the game of school? Because you're either going to do that, or you're going to provide a functional family where they hear you soaking them in learning and progressing and moving forward. So Jason, you used to take your kids to Washington, D.C. on field trips. You took 100 kids, I